Pretty. Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to Ironclad RC. I'm Big B. So we got a big RC boat here, man. A big one. It's a big boy. One of my viewers sent this boat to me. It has some damage, so we're gonna need to fix it. It's not a bare hole. It's a hole in hardware. So we're gonna need to get motors, ESCs, electronics for it. We are gonna build it on the channel. I'm gonna try to get started on it as soon as I can, because it's a beautiful hull. So Brian, thank you, Brian E. I don't want to get the last name wrong. So Brian, man, I appreciate it. I've already peeked in it. I think we could fix it. I think we can run it. So yeah, stick around. We're gonna look at it. Check it out. Look at this freaking boat, boy. Oh man. Oh, I am blessed. I have been blessed by the boat god, aka Brian. Thank you, dude. Thank you very much, man. This thing's freaking awesome. Now there is some damage to it that we're gonna have to fix. There's some major work that needs to be done to it, but the boat itself is it's all in one piece. I mean, it's runnable. Okay, so here's the story. Here's the story. I mean, look at this. Look at these out drives. These are called Arneson drives. They're trimmable, steerable, twin out drives. I mean, look at that, dude. Look at that. This boat, I mean, it's a freaking work of art, dude, for real. It's big, 51 inches long. I don't even know how wide it is. Let's see how wide it is. 15 inches wide. Come on, boy. Damn. So this is the story, okay? Like I said, one of my viewers, Brian, sent this boat to me, okay? He purchased the boat. He purchased it. I'm not sure the vendor. I could say the vendor that I think it is, but I'm not, just because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Now, they did make it right. So, and it's not even TFL's fault. It's not the vendor's fault. It's the Postal Service's fault, okay? He ordered the boat. It took the boat forever to arrive, you know? He gets the boat. The box looks like King Kong used it as a baseball bat on the top of the freaking Empire State Building, whapping airplanes with. When he got done whapping airplanes, he threw the box off the Empire State Building. Boom, 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 boom. It hit the ground. Postal Service picked it up and took it to Brian. You know what I'm saying? Like the box, it was rough, man. It was rough. So this boat, it comes with twin 56 millimeter motors. Twins, okay? Two 56 millimeter motors broke loose from the hull. They were attached to the flex cable, right? So that was one impact, breaking the motors loose, right? And then they were attached to the cable, so the cable was basically acting like a damn spring-loaded slingshot with two 56 millimeter motors. Every time, you know, it would get jarred or tossed around, it was wreaking havoc on the hull. So basically, when he got the boat, the motors were broke loose, the stuffing tube, its retainer broke loose, okay? All that broke loose. Battery tray broke loose. So he called the vendor where he got it. They had sent him a new hull. Okay. They sent him a couple of new water jackets. Okay. But he had to use the existing electronics. Right. So they made it right. You know. He still hadn't run the boat. He's had it a year. Still hadn't run the boat. He's still getting everything installed. And he figured he would send the boat to me so I could build it. I could, you know, kind of help him through the build and running type deal. So this is the damage. This is the damage to the hull. Okay. A couple of 56 millimeter motors on their mounts, whapping around in the hull. this is what happened. So it's got some damage, but I'm gonna run it, man. I may actually, like, this one is probably the worst one on the bottom. You see how it's kind of from the impact, it's kind of broke the epoxy loose. Okay, like these little guys right here, these would be okay. It didn't crack the carbon fiber. It's just the impact from the inside out. It's just like kind of spider webbed a couple of little areas here. I mean, he hated to throw the boat away. You know, he didn't want to build another boat, so he figured he'd send it to me. And I'm gonna run it, man. Like, I might fix this one. You guys see that? Well, these two are together, so I'll probably fix those. I'll probably fix those two, and I almost want to say I'll fix that one, but I'll probably just leave it. This one didn't even break the surface. You can't feel any imperfection in the hull, and the hatch actually got the worst part. That's the worst one out of all of them, right there. So run it, man. It's carbon fiber, carbon Kevlar inlay, double. I mean, you can't feel, there's no soft spot. And on the inside, you can't even tell it was damaged from the inside. You don't see any cracking in the Kevlar, you know. So I'm actually looking at these Arneson drives here, and I mean, I literally just got the boat a couple hours ago, and I'm literally just looking at them. So got a little bit of play right in here, and it's in this captured ball. Well, I don't even think it's captured. It don't look like it's captured to me. That ball is basically sitting in that cup. So I'm gonna pull this thing apart here next couple of days. I'll make a video on it and kind of see if we can't get this tightened up. You know what I'm saying? Both of them are like that, so I'd like to get those tight. We're gonna definitely have to get any slop out. I greased them, I oiled them. They're moving much easier. Definitely gonna need a beast of a servo for this thing, man, for real. I was also looking in here. This is the one that broke out. Had a motor hanging off here, doing God knows what. So it broke this loose. So I'm sure this thing was moving around quite a bit before it actually pulled out. You know, so look at this larger round circle right here, and then we have this flanged piece that this stuffer tube goes into. So, all right, so maybe I need to zoom in here. You see how it's moving there? So I'm putting a little bit of pressure on it now. I'm trying to spin. I was seeing if I could spin this. So I don't know exactly how this all goes together. This right here may actually, like, I don't know. I don't want to say one thing and it be something completely different. You know, this one over here, it actually looks pretty tight. You know what I'm saying? It looks pretty tight. All this whole side right here is rock solid. So we're gonna have to get this side like that side now. So I got it pushed down. Okay. Yeah, that side's solid, man. So this has got a little play in it here. Man, I'm really hoping that Arneson's okay. It just may need some TLC, you know, after that motor got busted loose and was moving around in here. So, man, those out drives are sweet. So this is an oiler. You know, you oil it here, little grease tube, oil, you know, it'll drip down into your stuffing tube, keep it nice and lubed up. Back here, I would imagine you'd want to use some type of grease back here, you know. Yeah, like grease on your stub shaft, and then oil your flex, you know. When you pull your flexes out, which these have a square drive, so you know, you could throw a little grease on there if you wanted to. I would imagine oil should be sufficient, you know. So yeah, we're gonna have to get 2 new flex cables. This one right here looks halfway decent, but that right there ain't no. I mean, I could probably get that memory out of there. I just about did it right there. You know, you could do that number there and spin them with a hard bend in it, and you can work a lot of the memory out of a bent cable. You know, if I were to get this model, like if I were to spend the money and get this boat, I would have gotten, I think I would that's so trick, but I think I would get the one with the rudder, center mounted, and like the 2 TFL like 1/4-inch struts, or stingers, excuse me, stingers. You know, center mounted rudder, 2 stingers, trim tabs, turn fin. That's the way I would do it. Now this one, man, I'm in love with it. Like I said, I would have bought the other one, but having this in front of me, looking at how this is set up, it's kind of badass. You know, it's kind of badass. I like how everything's like, oh, like all this, it's trick, man. All these turnbuckle mounts and everything. It's cool. Yeah, they come out with these Arsons. So, like back in the day, you know, so you could run surface props. Because surface props are so much faster than a prop that's designed to be under the water, you know. Half the blade's in the water at any given time with a surface prop, which is what you run, like, you know, on a Sonic Wake or the Recoil 2 or the Dominator. Those are all, you know, ABC props. They're surface props, basically. You know, Arctura, they're surface props. And half the props in the water, half the props out of the water. You know, that allows you to run a higher RPM and turn that prop faster. There's less, it's only half the prop. Theoretically, you only want about 35-40% of the prop in the water. Like, you know, and that's less blade in the water. You could turn it faster. You feel me? So this is going to be a fast ass boat. Like look at how high they're set off the keel. Like when I built my twin motor mono, I tried setting my stingers as low as I possibly could, you know, and I ran high kV motors so we can get the boat up out the water, you know, with those higher kV motors and spin the shit out of a prop. And this one, okay, this is designed for a 60+ millimeter prop, 60+ millimeters. All right, so the tip of your blade, it's going to be, I would imagine, somewhere like in here. So man, this is going to be a quick boat. And like when we put our servo and we're turning the boat, you're not going to need that much throw, especially at speed. That right there will cut the boat and flip her over. So I mean, that's, just say that's 0 right there, and you want to turn right. I'm sure about, like, that's about as much throw as we'll need for these Arsons. I mean, look at how big those, you got two skegs down in the water, you know. Oh, that's freaking dope, man. Already started my repair process. So basically, you guys remember what this looked like, right? It basically looked like this. It had that like shattered epoxy in the center here where the impact was, and then it's like spider webbed out from that shattered area. So what I'm doing is I'm basically digging the shattered area out, you know, trying not to mess up the cloth, the fabric here, you know what I mean? Like this one, I've already dug out most of the shattered area, and what I'll do is I'll feather it. I'll probably feather like this much of it, you know. I'm not going to be able to get all these little spider webs out, but I'm going to try to get most of it out, and then we'll epoxy it, and then we'll sand it and finish it. In about 20 minutes or so, I kind of took my Dremel and grind it around the cracked epoxy. Okay, didn't touch the fabric. I started picking this one out. I wasn't, and then I started looking at it. I was like, yeah, that may actually catch water and break, you know, break a piece of epoxy off eventually, you know. So I went ahead and kind of picked the worst part out. I'm gonna match this up kind of like these. I might actually make this one big one here and debating on this one. Nobody's gonna know. They'll never know. They'll know. They'll know. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna know? They'll never know. I scraped all the epoxy off the hull last night, see if there was any like imperfections or major damage to the Kevlar. It's bulletproof, man. It ain't gonna leak, you know. I mean, look, I scraped it off with a paint scraper effortlessly. The only epoxy that's stuck right here is that, you know. Man. So I'm gonna reinforce this area before I mount those big motors, just because it has damage. So we're going to reinforce it and build these motor mounts into the boat like they should have been done in the first place. That should have never happened. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. Shame on the postal system, but shame on TFL for releasing a boat off the assembly line that had motors partially epoxied in. That should have never busted loose in shipping. So basically, the first big crash with this boat, or blow off the water, hard impact, those motors would have busted loose. $3,000 boat, man. That should never happen. This ain't no little Walmart off-the-shelf $100 boat. This is true hobby grade, and that motor should have never busted loose. That should have never busted loose, you know. Battery tray should have never busted loose. I will say this didn't scrape off, so they actually cleaned and prepped the hole here, but they must have been sleeping on the job when they did that. All that scraped off, easy peasy, you know. I already got it all drilled out. All this is drilled out. I'm ready to go, man. I got my list here of parts. We're ready to go. So, when Brian sent me the boat, he was he asked me, hey B, do you want a 51-inch TFL Ariane? I was like, hell yeah. What you want me to pay for shipping, you know? And and then he was like, it was damaged in shipping, and they replaced my hull, blah blah blah. And then he sent me the photos. I was like, damn, that looks pretty bad. And then I started looking at the photos, you know, and I was like, man, I could do something with it. And then I started thinking, I was like, man, do I want to put $1,200 into a damaged boat? And now, you know, seeing it, yeah, I am. I'm going to put the $1,200. Holy cow, almost fell backwards. I am going to put the $1,200 into it, you know. I am. It's such a badass boat just to sit around. When he told me he had the boat, I was like, damn, what's the cheapest and quickest way I can get this thing on the water, right? First thing that come to mind was the 4685 950 kV supersonic wake motor with the 160 firmer. Basically that power setup times 2. I get a little discount with Horizon Hobby, so it would only cost me $450 to put that setup in here. You know, so the bolt pattern it wouldn't match up, so I'd have to modify the mount. I don't want to do that. I found out that this boat runs a 66 millimeter, 1.6 pitch propeller, 66 millimeter diameter prop. That is freaking huge. And that power system, it may actually push that. I mean, that, you know, I don't know the wattage for that motor, but I'm sure it's around 400 watts. So it might turn it. And we might get into the 60s, 70s with that setup. Power cutting with a big prop. So I was like, I'll just kind of spend the money. So I was looking around eBay and AliExpress. I found a pair of 5684 1000 kV motors for $220, you know, for the pair. So 5684, that's like, it's like an 8,000 watt motor. So max, you know, so that, it might actually work. So I mean, I can find a 4092 that has 8,000 watts basically. So 200 for a 300 amp Pro Marine. So 4, 5, 6, 650. I can get this power system. The boat comes with this, a 56104. It comes with 1,000 kV. I was thinking if I'm going to get the 56104, I'm going to put 1150 kV in it. It's a Delta 6D 6-pole, I believe, and an XLX2 Hydra. This is a 12,000 watt motor, the 56104, versus the 8,400 watt 5684. You know, so 200 for the pair. These are 169 a piece, so basically 320 or so. Yeah, 320 for these two motors. So at almost double the wattage. So I'm thinking I'm going to spend the money on the 56104. You know, I got such a beautiful hull here. Might as well put what I want to in it, you know. I'm kind of teetering on like the 900 or the 1150. Do I want more torque so I can possibly prop up later on, or do I want to turn a 6616 or the equivalent ABC, which is a 2716, a little bit harder than the stock 1000 kV, so I'm kind of teetering back and forth. The reason I'm showing you guys this is what I do when I build boats, man. I put it on paper, I put my possible setups on paper, and I weigh the positives and negatives for each. It's funny when people ask me on you know, email or Facebook comments, what you know, I got this hull, what should I put in it? So you know, first of all, it takes me days to come up with an ideal setup for a boat. And a lot of guys want it then, right then, you know. And 9 times out of 10, they give me very little information to go on to give them any particular setup. So, and a lot of times, I don't know what they want from their boat. You know, they want to run, bash, oval, speed run, you know, or even asking me for props for any particular boat. You know, I'm building this boat, I got this in it, got this. What prop should I put on? You know, it's hard. It's hard for me to pick out proper stuff for my boats, let alone give somebody that I barely know and what they want out of it proper setup, you know. And when you do ask me in the comments, if, you know, what do I do for this? Put, like, I have a monohull. Put the hull type, a weight for that hull would be ideal. What ESC, what KV you have in that boat, what cell count you're running, what props you're currently running, the speed you're currently running, and what you ultimately want from that boat. You know, give as much information in the comment, email, Facebook as you can. That would help me better, help you better type deal. Okay. Also, the Offshore Electrics forum is another good place to go if you're trying to figure out a setup for a boat, props for a boat. Actually, there's like some really, really like knowledgeable, much more knowledgeable than I, that can help you out. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's gonna be a fun build. It's gonna be fun to run this boat. So, you know, my budget, I can get the motors. We can get all the stuff, all the odds and ends to get the boat set up minus ESCs this month. So what I was thinking is I'll just pull the XLX2 out this boat, pull the XLX2 out this boat when we finish installing the motors and all the odds and ends, and we can get it on the water like ASAP. And then I was like, shit, damn, I don't have two matching sets of 4S batteries. Four 4S batteries to make 8S for each side. So what I figured I would do, I would pick up a few pairs of QS8, some H-gauge wire, and I would make me a series to parallel to each ESC, so I can run these 11,300 HCl HPs, this 8S set for both ESCs, just so I can get the boat on the water, so I could help Brian get his set up, find a good setting for the Arnesons, and you know, just run the boat just to get it on the water as soon as possible, you know. So a series to parallel. Then next month that will allow me to pick up the 4 sets of 4S batteries needed to run 2 XLX2s and 2 56104s. I also have the 11,400s, which is probably what I'll pick up for this boat. Really, I could get away cheaper with the Pro Marine 300. That way I'll be able to charge these batteries to its high voltage charge and put a little bit more voltage, more runtime for the boat, basically. So there's a lot to getting this boat on the water. It's not cheap. It's going to be a fun one, and I really appreciate Brian sending this boat to me. You know, it's the biggest boat I own. I mean, I mean, that one right there is pretty close to its size. This one here is 2 inches wider than the 48, 3 inches longer on the hull, but with the Arnesons, it's like 11 inches longer than the Supersonic Wake 48. So it's a massive mono hull, you know. And I'm really excited. I'm tickled to death that he thought about me and sent the boat to me. Brian, I'll send those props out to you probably today. You guys are seeing this Monday, so I'll have the props out to you. Put them in the mail Monday, okay? The video is probably long enough. I know you guys are probably going to be excited to see this thing on the water. I'm excited to get it on the water, and I really don't want to stretch it out. I really don't want to have to take it out to the shop, because when I take a boat out to the shop, it just sits there, you know? So we're going to try to piece it together little by little, try to get it on the water as quickly as possible. Might have to kind of rig some stuff up our first few runs with it until we get the proper packs for it. So yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was pretty long. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Big B with Ironclad RC.